Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1845 and today's date is April 18th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Now the Fireworks Begin, Full Speed Ahead, Next Target. Now, we know that Robert Mueller has been investigating Donald Trump for over 2 years now and has concluded that there is no case to answer on his colluding with Russia during his election campaign. Given that news, you would expect the markets to have soared. Instead, they've reacted by tanking, and there's nothing the markets hate more than political uncertainty. Now is not a good time to be fully committed to stocks. Gold has rallied along with silver this year, and it might be time to think about putting some of your money into precious metals. If you call Noble Gold, you can speak to one of their advisors about the pros and cons of buying precious metals. So click the link below to get your free gold IRA guide, or just call 877-646-5347 and make sure to mention X22 Report to get the free gold investment guide. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we can see today, the Mueller report came out, which means there was no obstruction, there was no collusion, and the blockade is completely gone. Trump right now and the Patriots can move forward full steam ahead. There is nothing standing in their way. And we can see their plan is going to be moving forward right now. Yes, there might be roadblocks. Yes, the deep state is going to try to do many other things. But that main blockade that was there is now gone. And we can see that Trump is now moving forward with helping to rebuild America, bringing jobs back, changing regulations, changing the laws, bringing manufacturing back. And he needs to do this before the entire system buckles under its own weight of debt. And we can see that he is pushing this to the extreme. I mean, look at the initial jobless claims right now. They are grinding lower and lower. That means many people are not applying for jobless claims. The last time this few Americans sought the help of the government after losing a job was in November 1969. Initial jobless claims, well, that tumbled another 5,000 from the prior week, where it was at 197, and now it's 192. And it's the second consecutive sub 200,000 print in 50 years, the lowest print since 1969. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And you can see what Trump is trying to do here. He's trying to get everyone off of the dependency of the government. He doesn't want people dependent on the government, because when we make this move, this transition, guess what? The government, they're not going to be able to help many people. Now think about it. If many people were still dependent on the government, I know there's many people that are still on food stamps and entitlement programs, but what Trump is trying to do is get many off as possible. So there are many that are not dependent on the government, because the government will not be able to help during this major crisis. People are going to have to fend for themselves. And the other thing that Trump is doing right now, he is really boxing in the Fed, because the Fed is going to have a very difficult time to explain why it is pausing its rate hikes at a time when the fewest number of Americans are filing for jobless benefits in a half century. I mean, what the Fed is doing right now makes no sense when you look at the statistical numbers. And the Fed, well, they're boxed in. Trump has trapped them, and this was on purpose. Now, we can see that retail sales, they have surged. And it looks like a lot of people are getting tax refunds, even though the mainstream media is out there saying, oh, the tax refunds are much lower. No one's getting this. But remember, a lot of people received their tax cuts in their check every month. A lot of people who applied for their taxes received a tax cut. And you can see that many people are receiving this money, and they went out and they finally purchased some items. Now, does this mean retail is bouncing back? No. It just means we have a blip right now showing that people went out and they purchased, because the month prior, it was absolutely awful. At the same time, we're seeing that the retail sector, the brick and mortar stores, they are taking a major hit right now. 5,995 stores, they have closed in the U.S. so far this year, which is already more than last year's total of 5,864. And this is coming from The Real Deal. So if we take a look at mall vacancy rates, They ticked up in the first quarter to 9.3% from 9% in the fourth quarter of 2018. And finally, one of the country's largest malls, Destiny USA in Syracuse, recently saw its mortgage taken over by special servicer. And even though the mall owner Pyramid Management Group says that it's trying to discuss an extension, the servicer is expecting a default from the owner in June. UBS has estimated that another 75,000 stores will have to close by 2026. And we know that all of this is not moving to online. Yes, online, more and more people are going to online, but it's not a one-to-one ratio. And as a retail as a whole, we can see retail is not doing well. And we need to remember something very important. When we talk about retail, when we talk about what is happening in the real economy, the people's economy, not the statistical numbers, that is the central bank economy. It's completely separate and apart in what Trump is trying to do here. Trump is trying to bring back the jobs, bring back the manufacturing. While he's doing this, he's making the statistical numbers look fantastic. Trump put out a statement, and it said, President Trump is lifting up American communities that have been left behind. Let me read you this statement here. We're providing massive tax incentives for private investment in these areas to create jobs and opportunities where they are needed the most. Encouraging investment opportunity zones will spur private sector investment to revitalize hurting communities and unleash their economic potential. In 2017, Trump signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which established opportunity zones to incentivize long-term investment in low-income communities across the country. These incentives offer capital gains tax relief to investors for new investment in designated opportunity zones. Opportunity zones are anticipated to spur $100 billion in private capital, incentivizing investment in low-income communities, fostering economic revitalization and job creation, and promotes sustainable economic growth across the nation. So what Trump is doing right now, he's bringing back jobs by using tax cuts, changing regulations, creating zones so companies come back. And this is what he's trying to do to rebuild the country. Remember, the deep state, they moved everything outside of the country. He's trying to bring everything back. So there are more than 8,760 communities in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 5 territories that have been designated as opportunity zones. Nearly 35 million Americans live in communities designated as opportunity zones. Think about the number of jobs. Think about the corporations that can come back, because corporations love tax cuts or tax incentives. They love coming in and saying, listen, we don't have to pay tax here, or tax is very low. Guess what? We will do this. We will set up shop. We will build manufacturing. We'll place our company in the opportunity zone, and we will hire the people there as long as it is a benefit to us. And when more and more people go to work and the company is there, guess what? People have money. Other businesses pop up in that area, and then you get the small mom and pop stores popping up, or maybe even chain stores, because now people have money to spend in this area, a lot more than they had before. And this is how you build different areas within the United States. The deep state, the central bankers, they weren't planning on this. This is why they never did this. They had a completely different plan. And Trump right now is pushing back and going full steam ahead. And the Fed, well, they're in trouble. And Trump is boxing them and putting them in a corner on purpose. Think about it. Why do you think Trump is contradicting the Fed all the time? Well, he's doing it so the American people know that the Fed is responsible for when this economic system implodes on itself. Trump is also contradicting the Fed to make sure they stick by their mandate. What is their mandate? Well, they have dual mandates: to promote price stability and full employment, which means no inflation. What is the Fed continually pushing? We need to reach our inflation target. There is no inflation target but zero. It's not 1%, it's not 2%, it's not 5%. And Trump is doing this on purpose, continually keeping the spotlight on the Fed And he's continually contradicting them over and over and over to make sure that the people understand who is responsible for this economy. Because he knows, the Patriots know, that once they bring everything back here, they're just going to let the economy go, and it's going to be all blamed on the Fed. How do you get rid of the Fed? Very easily. Have the entire system collapse around them, then blame them for it, and then look into their books with an audit. Now, we know that Trump is trying to get people into the Fed, and these are outsiders. These are not people that are working with the Fed. These are complete outsiders that want to either remove certain individuals in the Fed or bring back gold into the system. Now, Herman Cain and Stephen Moore, these are the two front runners. Stephen Moore, I believe, is being vetted right now. Herman Cain, he's going to have a little bit of tougher time because there's a lot of Republicans and Democrats that do not want him in there. I'm sure there's many that do not want Stephen Moore in there. But Herman Cain said, listen, I have no intention of withdrawing my name for consideration. I'm with Trump all the way. Now, this is going to be a battle because he is an outsider, and he did say something that's very interesting. He said the Fed needs new voices. And then he said, the president asked me one simple question. He said, would you consider doing this if you make it through the process? He said, I said yes. I didn't hesitate. He's ready to make the move. Now, again, we still have a problem with those in Congress. But I think with the Mueller report coming out, we are now moving to the next phase. And this is going to get better and better as time goes on. Yes, we're going to go through these ups and downs, but it's going to get better, and you're going to see a lot more happen, especially in the economic realm, especially with the Fed. And it's going to ramp up right after the 2020 election. And all of a sudden, you're going to see things like we've never seen before. So get prepared, get ready, because we're going to be going through this transition, and it's going to be a little rough, so you need to get prepared for it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.